we will be now talking about the Scream 6 trailer. And Jeannine, I'm sure you spotted all little different kinds of Easter eggs, so please let
Yes.
me get my thoughts out of the way with first, and then you
Okay.
can do a
Okay.
deep dive that I obviously don't know
Yes.
about in as much depth at all. All I will say is that I really like that they are really treating this as a totally fresh thing for the Scream
Yes.
franchise, a totally new thing. The tagline's New York, new rules. I've got it on my sign today. And whoever's Ghostface in this movie says multiple times in this trailer, I'm someone you
I'm
know,
something
I know
different. I'm something
something
different.
different.
Yeah.
You've never seen a ghost face like
Like
me
me.
before.
Yeah.
And the fact we see this cultish looking shrine of all this ghost face memorabilia by the looks of it. There's
Yes.
costumes in cases. It looks like Iron Man. It looks
Yeah.
like Iron Man's
Right?
little
Cave.
cave in Iron
Yeah.
Man 3 or whatever he had when it was all of his suits
Yeah.
all lined up in glass cabinets. This is what it looks like. There's knives everywhere. Gale and Hayden Panettiere's there, and Jenna Ortega's back, and some of the people from the last movie. But because it's obviously in New York now, I think that's the basic reason as to why this movie feels fresh. But
Yes.
there's
I
a
mean,
really interesting idea with this ghost face. I mean, surely this truly is going to be a type of ghost face we've never seen before, in whatever potentially exciting way that may be. I know you've spoke about perhaps it's someone we may have met in a previous movie, because we've never had a ghost face we've previously
that's
met
just something I would
before,
love to see, just to be different and not and veer away
or
from the typical formula.
if it's somebody who is truly just deeply studied on the ghost face
Yes.
history, on the
Yes.
history of these in-world ghost faces, has created this cult of people by the
Yeah.
looks of it, because there's several people on this subway train dressed as Ghostface. Are they all involved? Is one of them just in a Halloween costume because it's Halloween? Is one of them actually Ghostface? We're not really sure. We're not really sure. And I will just say this as well. Why are people complaining about Ghostface using a gun? Ghostface always uses guns.
Essentially, when they're not in Ghostface outfit, they that's pretty much when they bring out the guns.
But
And
yes,
the only
okay,
reason,
Ghostface in uniform usually
yes,
stabs
doesn't have a
people,
gun.
but
Yeah.
doesn't have to, hasn't always just killed people by
Yeah, we
stabbing
had
people.
Billy had a gun, Mrs. Loomis had a gun, Mickey had a gun. Like we've seen Jill had a gun. We've
Everybody had a gun.
yes, every Ghostface has
Relax.
had a gun. I think Amber had a gun. So
Amber
yes.
had a gun. Last
Yes.
Jack Quaid had a gun.
Everybody had a gun, but I think it was just Ghostface himself in costume didn't wield the
I
gun.
don't care.
And the
I do
only
not care.
reason I think people maybe thought, oh, he's carrying around the shotgun the whole time, but then in the trailer you do see he took it from the bodega guy, so
Yes,
that's
exactly.
why he has
Yes.
it. Yes. But yeah, just the brutality of this Ghostface. Like he looks very
Does look
much just
particularly
yeah.
nasty.
Yes, it looks just very brutal, much more brutal than kind of what we've seen before. So already the tone is different.
It's
Um,
almost as though does it not almost to you feel like it's not personal? You know, like Scream 5, I think was kind of felt personal. It felt like there was
yes,
reason behind
yes,
going after Sydney again, going after Dewey, going after Gale. I
yes.
just feel like this is someone who is obsessed with Ghostface but doesn't really care about who they're killing.
Yes, they're just obsessed with these crimes, obsessed with these people who could go and do these things. People have kind of insinuated maybe, instead of it being a focus on the stab movies or movies in general or that kind of aspect of the driving motivation, it being more about kind of what is popular today, which is like true crime and an obsession with kind of true crime
Yeah.
and those
Yeah.
aspects, and just the intrigue of getting away with things like this, the obsession that people have with serial killers. We had the Dahmer show getting awards and things like that. We have serial
It
killers
is
in jail
weird.
who get love letters and accolades and all these things, and people wanting to meet them and befriend them, and things like that. And then we get into the original Scream 3 script where, it was supposed to be Stu in prison, and kind of mentoring this cult of followers to kind of go out and do these things, and kill on his behalf and that kind of thing. And so this brought up a couple of theories for me, and like I kind of have been in comment sections of other videos, and people actually bringing up some really good points to me. I kind of brought up the point that Perry Nemiroff, critic who recently
We,
interviewed Kevin Williamson, and
we love Perry Devereaux.
yes, and has point blank asked him, she recently asked him, is Stu dead? And he said, yeah, Stu, is dead,
Okay.
and confirmed it. So that's kind of where my mind was going. So I brought that up to somebody in a comment section because, we did get the poster where Stu's little dot on the map was like a little bit highlighted. And, people really still talking about, oh, well, Stu could potentially come back. But I had people kind of bring up the point where, well, like, I think when Williamson says that, he's glossing over the point that he did actually write a whole ass script where he had Stu alive. So for him to kind of come back now and
Yeah.
say that Stu is dead is interesting. And to the point that he also kind of gave his blessing to Radio Silence to kind of do whatever they wanted. So if they choose to bring Stu back, they could do that if they
Okay.
wanted to. So that was I kind of went back to the person like, that's a good point. So, I've always been very adamant that I don't think Stu would come back or Stu would survive. But kind of in talking to other people and getting those kind of takes, like maybe there is potential for him to have survived in some way, or
Be
be
very
alive,
interesting.
or just in general a cult of people who are still very much Stu supporters or something like that. And then even some other things that kind of drive me to this theory of it being very Stu focused. The only Ghostface suit in a glass case in that shrine is Billy's. So, there have been,
Oh.
so that was his partner, that was his guy. So of course he's
That's
going
true.
to, have his suit, the special one, the encased one, and be gunning for the daughter of his partner, you know. And then of
Yes,
course
because
the
that's
underlying
who
the
she is,
under
isn't
yes,
he?
yes. And like if you look at the map, all the lines point to Sam. So um
Ah.
so that definitely I think could play into some things of Stu either being alive or it being very Stu focused, and kind of his relationship to Billy being kind of a driving force in terms of why this is happening. And a lot of talks over the years of was Stu kind of in love with Billy, were there kind of was there a underlying homosexual energy between the two of them, which definitely could play.
Yeah.
So just being mad that he lost his Billy and all of these things. So definitely some very good arguments in terms of theories of Stu being alive, or it just being very strongly tied to Stu, and that kind of be the starting point to branch off of a cult. I do like the idea of like true crime obsession. So a lot of really interesting kind of theories mulling around in my head in terms of kind of what we were able to see in this trailer.
I do like that actually, because what I did, what I didn't necessarily notice from this trailer was an awful lot of the typical Scream comedy. And I don't
Yeah,
mean that in terms of just silly ha ha, but I mean they're very, very smart in their satire
yeah,
nature, the Scream movies, as half parodies of slasher movies themselves while being incredibly good slasher movies.
yeah,
This is what Scream was birthed as. This is what Scream was always was. Scream 5 certainly did that very, very well. And because this is coming obviously such a short time after that,
after.
with a
Mhm.
lot of the same people, I hope it's going to be that similar attitude to its playing on the comedy. And if we are focusing on, like you said, perhaps playing on people's obsession with true crime and making it about true crime and weird obsession with those kind of things, I think a lot of good comedy could come from that. A lot of good
Yes.
Scream style comedy could
Yes.
come
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
So I like that, but I didn't notice any in this trailer.
No,
So
it was
certainly
very kind of
hope it.
serious and brutal and straightforward.
I certainly
So
hope it doesn't. I certainly hope it has that in there. I don't think it would feel like a
yes,
Scream
I
movie
definitely think
if it is a straightforward slasher.
it needs that comedic tone, but this was straight up kind of a horror trailer, like seeing the kind of shape of Ghostface through that frosted glass door and all of our
Yeah.
characters kind of just waiting with bated breath. And we get flashes of some really solid chases of, them having to
Mm.
use a ladder to cross from one apartment to the other. And then you get a flash of Ghostface at the window at the ladder. So the last person on that ladder is probably not making it.
Yeah. And you
We
know
saw
what
quick
Ghostface is
flashes.
always like? Whoever Ghostface is, you know what they're always like? They're always really agile, really
Yes.
quick, really nimble.
Yes. So,
They're not plodding Michael Myers, are they? They're not
no,
just strolling
just walking
along
really slow. They're
slowly.
fast, they're quick. Um, they've got the knife skills, they got it all. So, um, yeah, we get flashes of Tony Revolori and Samara Weaving's characters. So I think
Yes.
people speculate because we kind of just got quick flashes of them, you know, they could be the opening kill potentially. Um,
Possibly.
Yes, I mean, theory people kind of theorizing, obviously, probably some of the new characters are gonna be involved in being killers. I would love to see more than 2 killers, because that's something
Yeah, see, this
different.
is what I'm
Um,
this is what I'm thinking of. This group aspect, this cult aspect, I'm
I think
actually
would be a
really
really cool
into.
thing. Yeah, I think, we have Mindy having a seemingly girlfriend character, so I'm sure that, you know
Yeah.
instead of it being the boyfriend, it being the girlfriend would be an interesting kind of twist to things. Um, we have, um, Dylan McDermott, Dylan McDermott, Dermot Mulroney's character.
Oh, it
He
might
is a
as well be
cop.
Dylan McDermott. I mean,
I
my
know
God, how
Dylan
often do
McDermott
I get
Mulroney.
those confused?
Yeah,
Dylan
Dermot
McDermott Mulroney. It's the same person. They don't
yes,
even look
like
similar.
no, it's just the name. It's just the name. Um, but I was actually having a conversation with my friend Jader, who is obsessed with Scream like I am,
Mm.
and we both kind of agreed. Well, what if Dermot Mulroney's character is involved in some way? I mean, to get all of these pieces of memorabilia that you see in this shrine, uh, these things would be in evidence, and he is a cop. So,
Yeah.
you'd have to have some type of cop connection, I would assume, to get access to all of these things, which I do want to kind of go over what is in this shrine as well, before we kind of move on. But in general, it just looks like there's a lot of cool chases. It looks very brutal. This Ghostface definitely feels different than what we've seen before. That's what I wanted. Like things that I
Yeah.
wanted to see were, multiple Ghostfaces, more than two, a different motive that's kind of not related to stab. you know, I think and maybe not related to a vengeance directly.
Yeah.
Um,
And it does look
I
like that.
Yes, I wanted to see more chases. I think Scream 5 was lacking in that, to really use the
That's
city of New
fair.
York as a playground. Because yes, this is not the first movie where we're getting out of Woodsboro. Of course, we had Windsor College, but we stayed very kind of focused on the college campus, and we had Hollywood, which we were very much on kind of movie sets, and then kind of the mansion at the end. So we weren't really running around the city all that much. So to kind of be
This is that.
in the expanse of New York, I really want that to kind of play, and it seems like it does in this trailer. Um, so I'm really
Do you
excited
think?
for that.
Do you think there's going to be people in actual New York dressed as Ghostface
I
going
mean,
about in the next month?
potentially, I love that it takes place on Halloween. That's something we've never done before. So, I mean, that
But I
would be
mean,
a
like
really
in the
fun.
next month, for
I mean,
marketing reasons, you
I
just have
think
people running
walk
around,
that would be
going
really
about
fun.
as
I
Ghostface
mean, we
just
got
in
something
Times
similar with
Square.
Megan, so
Yeah.
I would love
I
a
mean, it'd
promotional.
terrify people, wouldn't it, really?
Yes,
They'd have to.
yes.
The knife, it's not real. It's not a real knife.
No.
It's fake knife.
Um,
Look, it's
or he has
rubber.
a
Ding,
shotgun, but
ding,
yeah,
ding.
I like the brutality of it. I mean, something we are getting that like everyone's kind of going crazy about is Gail is actually getting her first Ghostface phone call. The fact that Gail has
Oh
never
yeah,
had
yeah,
a conversation on the phone with Ghostface, and even in the promotional material, they're like, we have like Ghostface saying the call I've been waiting to make, and showing him calling Gail. So I love
yeah. It's
that
fun.
we're getting. So it looks like we're getting a lot of new things. Another thing I kind of talked about was like I would love to see, even if not maybe as Ghostface, a character that we've met previously kind of coming back, like somebody that we didn't even think about. Um,
Not
you know,
Hayden Panettiere.
yes. So I would love to see, because Ghostface, like in particular, has never been a character that we've previously met. That
No,
we've met in a previous movie, coming back, and now they're Ghostface. It's always been someone been introduced to in that new movie. So I would love to see. So yeah, like if it was Stu, like I think some people hate that idea, but I would kind of go crazy over it. So yeah, I mean, I was very adamant on Stu being dead, but kind of in having conversations with people. I mean, I think there are signs pointing to, radio silence potentially, maybe, and maybe doing something like that to kind of not necessarily distract, but since we can't have Sydney, something just as kind of big and bold
yeah.
and awesome for fans. Um, and I will say, like,
Oh
I didn't, in the format of this trailer, I didn't miss Sydney. My brain was like,
no, that's
I
fair.
like that our girl is getting a break. I like that our girl's kind of getting a moment to be with her family and breathe and not have
Yeah.
to deal with any of this craziness. So I didn't miss her in that aspect, and based on kind of how this trailer was formatted. So
Well, the thing is, we're still getting Gale, and obviously Gale is getting to do
yes,
new
it's
things, a la talking to Ghostface directly. So
yes,
it's
yes,
interesting in that way. We're still getting that original cast being more than a big part of this particular
yes,
movie.
yes, and
Um, all else I will say is I've forgotten now. I've completely
I'm
forgotten now.
sorry.
My train of thought is
That's
horrendous. I do apologize, Jeannine.
no,
I
that's
may
okay.
remember it. Please
That's okay.
continue.
So just another thing with the Stew stuff, like he's also been Matthew Lillard himself has been kind of teasy about things. Like just in interviews, he kind of talks about, he does talk about how he was originally supposed to survive in Scream 3 and be the killer. Pictures of him. He was on the set of Scream 2, kind of lurking in the background in a wig because he was dating Nev Campbell and visiting the set that at that time. So Kevin Williamson
Okay.
kind of talks about that as a reason that people assume that Stu is still alive, but also use that as a reason to confirm that he wasn't. So, um, but Matthew Lillard himself definitely has been teasing things. I think he recently put a tweet out, kind of just talking about. I mean, it was just a TV, right?
Interesting.
He literally tweeted something like it was
Interesting.
just a TV, like so. I don't
Very
know.
interesting. This is what I wanted to say. All else I will say is let us not be disappointed if our ideas do not come to fruition in this movie, especially if it ends up being a well told story and a well told movie itself. Just
Yes.
in case I do not like to do this. So I do not like to go into movies wanting a particular thing.
Yeah, these well, these
And
for me
I
are
feel
like
like we're at fear of doing this.
these are wish list things for me, just in terms of ideas to make it feel different from what we've seen before. In general, these are just things that for me would make it feel different from any Scream movie. But
Not
just
requirements.
yes, they are not strict requirements. It's just general ideas I have about what could make
Okay.
this movie different than the other ones. So in general, all I'm asking for is for this film to do something different than the other Scream films have done. Because
Well,
while
it
I do
certainly
love our
looks
typical
like
Scream
it's going to do
formula,
that.
that is what I want. So, and then yeah, just love Kirby coming back, and I do think she's like a cop or a detective or something. So that's
Yeah.
kind of going to be a cool thing as well. So just to kind of close this off, I do kind of want to go over what is in the shrine, and then
Oh,
we can
yes, yes, please do.
yes. So I mean, I don't want to take credit for finding all of these things. These are the things I originally saw in my kind of first glimpse. I literally watched the trailer before I had to go to work, and the things I saw were um we had a bloody cop uniform. So, we've had several Woodsboro cops get killed.
We
So,
have.
yeah, so it could have been Dewey's, it could have been Haas or Perkins from Scream 4. We see a shirt in between. Next to that one, it's a gray shirt. I couldn't really tell who it was, but again, to my great friend Jader Paramo and Scream enthusiasts, we constantly text each other about, oh my gosh, Scream this, oh my gosh, Scream that. He did. I asked him about it, and he said he thought it was Olivia's shirt, the girl who gets killed in Scream 4, like one of Jill's friends. Um,
Okay.
and then next to that is a mask from the play that Sydney did in Scream 2. Other things we see
Right.
that I did see was Jill's outfit, her flannel outfit that she was wearing, at the end of Scream 4. We see the lightning prop that Derek, Sydney's boyfriend, was strapped to in Scream 2. We see like a film clapper thing from the set of Stab 3. We see Mrs. Loomis's white suit that she was wearing at the end of Scream 2 and her gun, I believe. We see Billy's bloody shirt. We see Stu's robe from the party. We see Tatum's outfit from when she was killed.
Yeah.
We see like a case in the back with I think more stab memorabilia. It's like a Ghostface mask and like some stab posters. So those were all of the things I saw. But then in kind of watching, of course, all these deep dive people, they pointed out you could see like Kenny's baseball, the cameraman from the first movie, his baseball hat that he was
Okay.
wearing. You could see a case with all of Gail's books that she's written on the little girl
Okay.
things. You could see Steve, the very first on-screen kill of Scream. The
Yeah.
dummy is actually taped to a chair like him wearing his Letterman jacket, and they even put like tape over the dummy's like a face. Um,
Wow.
you see the TV that crushed Stu next to like where
Okay.
his robe is, which I
Okay.
thought was really cool. Somebody pointed out in another glass case where the film clapper is, you can see the frying pan where Ghostface hit Patrick Warburton, who was like the bodyguard to
Okay.
Parker Posey, the
Okay.
frying pan, and then the fax machine from Scream 3 with that very convoluted explosion where everyone had to keep like getting the faxes and going back in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, like
It's a
I don't
frightening amount of
the
tiny little things that are
things
in this
like yeah,
particular
these are
shrine.
definitely things I did not see. So just in watching videos, these are things people pointed out.
This is
Um
obsession, Jeannine. This is
yes,
true
yes.
obsession
I
from
mean
whoever's
us
made this shrine.
Us, yes, and then we see all 9 Ghostface suits, so and there
Yeah.
looks like there's little nameplates under each of them, and Billy's is in the case, and the mask we do
So
see in that first opening is a cracked, weathered
yes, it
mask,
is.
so safe to say it's probably Billy or Stu's original mask, um,
That's a good,
very
good
much a
thought
la
there.
Michael Myers, so
Yeah,
so
using the same mask I used 40 years ago. Of course you
yes, but
are,
then we
Michael.
also see
Sure.
in the trailer Sam holding it. So, um, so
Who
I don't know.
knows? Who knows?
Yes. So
Who
I'm just
knows?
all I know is I'm excited. So I'm
Yes.
so excited for
As
this
am
movie
I.
to yes. And so I'm waiting. I'm excited for you to revisit these films because I talked to you about Scream and you just like
Well,
blank
2 and
face
3.
and 4, I
2 and
think.
3,
I think you need
4-ish. I know 4 more than 2 and 3. 1 and
well,
5, I'm fine.
yes. Well, I definitely want to be able to talk to you about these movies and have you not give me a blank stare like when I'm
Yes.
like, "Remember when that happened?" and you're like,
Not
"Mm."
really, no, I watched it years and years ago.
Yes.
Um,
Meanwhile, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, and this thing and that thing," and I'm going crazy. So, yes, just so excited. I even
I
might
would
have a
just
character
like
cosplay planned for my premiere
ooh.
going situation.
I would just like maybe we haven't seen this in the shrine yet, but perhaps we'll see this in the movie as an Easter egg type thing. Drew Barrymore's jumper from, because
I
it's just a
mean,
really nice jumper. I like the
yes.
jumper. I
Yes.
would wear it. It's something I would wear.
I
So
know, like, I've wanted to do a
I'd
Casey
like to
Becker
see that.
cosplay for a long time just so I can have that sweater, it's really
I could
nice.
I could absolutely just pull that off, couldn't I?
You
If I
could.
just did my hair a certain way and just wore that, it'd look like me. And it's the kind of stuff I wear anyway.
I mean, if you wore that wig, you'd look kind of like a little schoolboy.
I would look a bit silly. Yes, I
You would
would.
need, like, a giant lollipop and, like, a little, like, sailor cap, just your beard and Think of Morgan with the Drew Barrymore wig from Scream with his beard. Like, you look like a little lollipop boy.
Why do I have to be like German? Do I have to be German or
I
Swiss or Austrian?
I mean, that's the vibe.
Are
For
you just?
sure.
Do you think I'm what's his name from Simpsons? What's his name? What's his name? The little like
You
Austrian
would look
kid
like
from
a
The Simpsons.
oh,
Ute.
yes.
Do you think I
With
look
your
like him?
I mean, with some lederhosen and that wig and your beard.
Oh my! Why do I have to be wearing lederhosen now? I've not said anything
That
about
wig that wig
lederhosen.
on a man with a beard, it would just scream that. You would be like that is in
Well,
cream,
I
a
won't do
blonde.
it then.
You would be a blonde version of that weird that is in cream guy.
Well, I won't do it then. I apologise for liking Drew Barrymore's lovely jumper. I won't do
Yes.
it
I
then.
mean I mean, you could do it. I don't think the wig is a good.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just put my normal Ghostface outfit on
Yes, you do have a
again.
ghost face mask.
I do
Yes.
have a
So,
Ghostface outfit. Yes, I do. I
but
have the
yes.
cloak, full cloak as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's very
yes,
big. I trip over it. Really, it's
it's really long.
massive. um,
That is not very
Probably
smooth.
need shortening
Yeah.
properly. No, I'm not very
I need to get
agile
my
in my full Ghostface
I
cloak.
would love to see you take that to a tailorist to get I
Can
need
I
to,
have my Ghostface cloak shortened, please? What?
yeah. Can you like
No,
hem
you can't. I'm phoning the
can
police.
you hem these like little drapey like tendrils of that ghost face costume?
Please make the ends
Yes.
slightly
Then
jaggedy.
they would immediately call the police.
They would. They would. 100%. I'd have to do it myself.
Yes, yes. But I'm just
Customizing Ghostface
yes.
outfits.
I'm just so excited for this movie. This trailer got me hyped. It definitely looks like it's doing something different than what we've seen before, which is what this franchise needs, particularly with not
Yeah.
having our Sydney back. Then just, that opens the door to we don't have our kind of marquee characters. So that just opens your door to do something completely different. And I think that's what they're going to do. And I'm so excited. So, yes, I will be
Yeah.
doing tons of Scream content, just talking about things I love, some fun Easter egg videos, some reviews of each film, ranking videos, all kinds of random Scream related stuff because, you see how much I love talking about these movies. So, I have done that in different forms on the channel. So please look out for some fun Scream related content coming out, all leading up to this new movie, all up on the channel. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Jeannine, let's get it.